Hello and welcome to our channel. In today's video, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and crucial topics shaping our world, the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow strip of water that holds the power to control the global economy. This 30-mile stretch isn't just geography, it's the lifeline for energy, trade, and geopolitics, making it the most dangerous and powerful choke point on Earth. Have you ever wondered what would happen if this tiny waterway was blocked? How could one small area disrupt the lives of billions of people? Why do superpowers like the US, China, and Iran constantly keep an eye on this critical region? Well, you're in the right place because today we're breaking it all down in a story full of surprising facts, historical twists, and eye-opening analysis that you simply cannot miss. So before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update on the most interesting and impactful topics from around the world. Now, let's begin the journey to uncover the secrets and significance of the Strait of Hormuz, where the fate of the global economy hangs in the balance. Let's dive in. The Strait of Hormuz, the most dangerous and powerful choke point in the world. The Strait of Hormuz is a mere 30-mile wide strip of water that holds unparalleled strategic importance in the modern geopolitical landscape. It may seem like a small and insignificant stretch of the ocean, but its significance is vast. It is a choke point through which much of the world's oil and natural gas flows, and any disruption in this strait could lead to an economic catastrophe that would ripple across the globe. The story of the Strait of Hormuz is one of geography, energy, economics, and power, woven together to make this narrow waterway one of the most pivotal points on Earth. 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by oceans, and around 80% of global trade relies on maritime routes. Among these trade routes, the Strait of Hormuz is a lifeline for the energy needs of billions of people. Approximately 50,000 ships traverse the world's seas at any given time, and the Strait of Hormuz handles a significant share of this maritime traffic. The Middle East is synonymous with oil and natural gas, and for good reason. The region holds 50% of the world's proven oil reserves and 40% of its natural gas reserves. Countries like Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, and Oman line the Persian Gulf, making it one of the most energy-dense areas on the planet. Out of the 100 million barrels of oil consumed globally each day, nearly 20 million barrels pass through the Strait of Hormuz. This accounts for around 1/3 of all seaborne traded oil and 15% of the world's total oil consumption. Additionally, vast quantities of liquefied natural gas, especially from Qatar, make their way through this vital corridor. To understand the strait's importance, consider this. The top consumers of Middle Eastern oil, China, India, Japan, and South Korea, are economic powerhouses. Together, these nations account for significant portions of global GDP. For instance, China, the world's second-largest economy, relies on the strait for over 40% of its oil imports. India, the sixth-largest economy, depends on it for 70% of its oil and 50% of its natural gas. Japan and South Korea, the third and 10th largest economies respectively, import the vast majority of their energy supplies through this narrow waterway. Any disruption in the Strait of Hormuz would wreak havoc on the energy markets, driving prices to record highs and destabilizing global economies. This dependency underscores the strait's geopolitical importance and makes it a focal point of international tensions. The importance of maritime choke points is not a modern phenomenon. Throughout history, strategic waterways have determined the fortunes of empires and nations. The Panama Canal, the Suez Canal, and the Strait of Gibraltar have all played pivotal roles in global trade and geopolitics. In March 2021, the world witnessed how fragile maritime trade can be when the Ever Given, a massive cargo ship, became lodged in the Suez Canal for 6 days. This single incident cost the global economy $10 billion and disrupted supply chains worldwide. The Strait of Hormuz, however, is even more critical than the Suez Canal because of its energy trade. The potential consequences of a blockade in the Strait of Hormuz are unimaginable. Unlike other choke points, there are no viable alternative routes for oil and gas shipments from the Persian Gulf. A blockage could cripple the economies of nations reliant on Middle Eastern energy and plunge the world into a severe economic crisis. The geopolitical landscape surrounding the Strait of Hormuz is as volatile as the energy markets it influences. The strait is located in a region fraught with political instability, territorial disputes, and military conflicts. Iran, which controls much of the northern coastline of the strait, has repeatedly threatened to block it in response to sanctions or military aggression. The situation is further complicated by the presence of disputed islands. 3 islands, Greater Tumb, Lesser Tumb, and Abu Musa, are claimed by both Iran and the UAE. In 1971, as British forces withdrew from the region, Iran seized control of these islands. They remain a flashpoint for tensions between the two nations. Adding to the complexity are the military bases established by global superpowers in the region. The United States, for instance, maintains a significant military presence in countries like Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Oman. These bases are strategically positioned to monitor Iran and ensure the smooth flow of oil through the strait. China, too, has been expanding its influence in the region. Through its Belt and Road Initiative, China has invested heavily in Middle Eastern infrastructure and energy projects, further intertwining its interests with the stability of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's geographical position gives it significant leverage over the Strait of Hormuz. It has built a formidable naval presence in the region, including submarines, speedboats, and anti-ship missiles. The Revolutionary Guard Corps frequently conducts military exercises in the area, showcasing Iran's ability to disrupt maritime traffic. In the past, Iran has demonstrated its willingness to use the strait as a bargaining chip. For example, during the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, both nations targeted oil tankers passing through the Persian Gulf in what became known as the Tanker War. More recently, in 2019, tensions flared when Iran seized a British oil tanker in retaliation for the UK detaining an Iranian vessel near Gibraltar. Such incidents highlight the fragility of the strait and the potential for conflict to escalate rapidly. Given its strategic importance, the Strait of Hormuz is under constant surveillance by global powers. The United States has long been the dominant military force in the region, with its Fifth Fleet based in Bahrain. This presence is designed to ensure the free flow of oil and to counter any threats from Iran. However, the dynamics are shifting as other powers, such as China and Russia, increase their involvement in the Middle East. China, as the largest importer of oil from the Persian Gulf, has a vested interest in the stability of the strait. It has signed a 25-year strategic partnership with Iran, which includes investments in Iranian infrastructure and military cooperation. Russia, too, has been strengthening its ties with Iran, further complicating the geopolitical calculus. As these alliances evolve, the Strait of Hormuz is becoming a focal point for a new era of great power competition. A blockade of the Strait of Hormuz would be a worst-case scenario with catastrophic consequences. Such an event would cause oil prices to skyrocket, potentially exceeding $200 per barrel. It would trigger a global energy crisis, as no alternative route could replace the volume of oil and gas that passes through the strait. This would lead to economic collapse in energy-dependent nations, especially in Asia, and spark military conflicts as nations scramble to secure their energy supplies. The ripple effects would be felt across the world, from factories in China to gas stations in the United States. The Strait of Hormuz is far more than a narrow strip of water. It is a geopolitical choke point that holds the power to shape the global economy. Its significance lies in its geography, its role in the energy trade, and the political dynamics of the region. As the world continues to rely on oil and natural gas, the strait will remain a critical focal point for global stability. However, its importance also makes it a flashpoint for conflict, requiring constant vigilance and diplomacy. In the delicate balance of power that defines our interconnected world, the Strait of Hormuz stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of the systems we depend on.